Team 1, 2, 3. Is it working today, folks? We're going to find out here in a short bit. Well, hello. How are you, folks? I'm John Zidar. You knew that already, aka the Wizzy. Changing gears here, folks. Been very busy today over at Penny Boys trading. I do a lot of things, and sometimes I miss a few things I should do. Did not finish the day well. That is 2 bad days I have had playing the queue. Just not doing it right. I just sold my cues for a huge loss. So we're going to have to push that aside and get through this show. Speaking of getting through the show, do you think we can do it? Let's make sure that I'm being heard here. I'm looking for any comments that you can confirm. We see you, we hear you. It's all good so far. I did replace RAM in my computer last week. I was so jammed up, I couldn't do the back half of the day for anything. So I doubled that up, and my memory has fallen a lot, by 50%, as you would expect. But my CPU is still running hot. It's right on the cusp. But I've only had a few glitches here, so I don't think we're going to have any problems. But just in case, I'm a man of redundancies. I like to have backups upon backups. So I have bought another computer. It should be here today, tomorrow, sometime soon. And it's got more power, more RAM. It's got more of everything. So worst come to worst, I'm ready to just move my hard drive over to that, and we'll still have the problem fixed. All right, let me see. I don't see anybody making any comments. So I'm going to presume there's no problem. Nobody said anything bad. I've been on for 2 minutes. All right. I see my gang is here, and because of the gang, we've got a show. I've got all of your tickers lined up. I've got Belmore's. Hello, Belmore. Girl, what do? Do you slip that ticker underneath the door? Because I just got the video put up before noon, and when I came over here, it couldn't have been a minute later. There was your ticker. 2 comments already in place. Wow. I like that. I really do. Of course, we got Mark Ryan in the game. I've got your ticker too. Dino Trades. Thank you, buddy. The Underdog. Thank you. Yes, Kevin B. We've got yours. And I do believe that's everybody's. So I appreciate you all being here, and for whoever else who shows up, thanks. So let's dive on into this, folks. I've got this all taken care of over here. Make you go crazy for a little bit. Okie dokie. We've got a nice variety of stocks today. I see 1 or 2 of them were asked from last week. We're going to actually get to see them this week. Okay, so let's start this off with the bullets. Who brought it to me, and what can we look forward to? We're looking at KWE, K-West Microsystems. This was a hot play today. We were playing this over at Penny Boys, so I was aware of its action. This came from Belmore under the door. This is an interesting company. They deal with defense contracts, not just with the military, but with regular corporations as well. But they deal with weapons that are non-lethal. And they've got all sorts of equipment, technical equipment for targeting and lasers and all sorts of stuff. They've got a super low float because they just did a reverse stock split yesterday, a 1 in 21 reverse stock split. And they've got a new contract that we're going to consider. So KWE, this is a company out of Canada, finished the day a little bit outside of the penny zone. She is at $5.59, but we're going to look at it anyways. She was up. Oh my God. What? That's got to be the reverse stock split. It's got to be 2,478% gains. Yeah. They say they did the reverse stock split yesterday, but those gains are showing up today. So I don't think it really jumped that far today, though she was hot. This is a hot penny stock on the major exchange. It's on the NASDAQ. These come with benefits all the major exchange stocks do compared to the OTC stocks. First off, there's no transaction fees, so you can buy and sell your shares for free. Doesn't cost you anything, which can change how you invest and how you sell. If you can sell scaling out, you sell as it's climbing, not carrying everything to the top. This is how you pull money into your pocket and minimize your risk. But if you've got to pay $7 for every time you sell, that's eating into your profits. Up on the major exchange, you don't have to do that. You'll also be able to trade pre-market, aftermarket. You can never do that with OTC. Some of the biggest runners I've ever seen happen in those periods of time. And I think that's because there are no volatility halts. When a stock starts running, gets too hot, moving too fast, there's no referees on the field. That thing just keeps going. And you have a lot more money, a lot more volume, and a lot more rules up on the major exchange. And all of those play into our benefit. So what did I learn about KWE? Well, as I said, this is a company that commercializes breakthrough next generation tactical systems for military, security, and personal defense markets. The company's current portfolio of unique proprietary offerings includes non-lethal weapons. Other Quest products include countermeasures against threats such as drones, lasers, and electronic detection. They have a battlefield laser detection system to counter the emerging threat of laser targeting. That's the big deal now. Somebody you don't see aims a laser at you, targets you. You never see anything hit that target, but the missile that's coming sees that target. So you know how you got something that can neutralize that effect. The company is headquartered in Ottawa, Canada, with operations in Virginia and representative offices in London, UK, and Abu in the United Arab Emirates. Now, jumping on over to their website, you get a better idea. They've got a few pictures here. They work with electronic equipment and tactic gear. Let's see if I just click over to here. I wanted to give you an idea of their weapons. They've got this thing here, which is a projectile. It is a gun. It shoots pepper bullets. Pow. They've got another gun here. They've got rifles. They've got tactical gear that goes, like connects you to the office. You get information, what's going on in the field. So there's a lot of stuff that they do here, and they are working with the military as well as private corporations as well. Looking at the news, they had a new contract come out on the 28th of March. The contract is a U.S.-based Norden Inc. for the manufacturing of their rifle. They've got the special rifle that shoots non-lethal ammunition. They are going to be making this here in the States, and they're going to be making it tariff-free. That's the whole big deal there. And then the rest of the news is about that share consolidation and why he had to do it. Well, he had to do it to get the price up. That's why he had to do it. So we've got ourselves a super low float. They've got new contracts. Let's see what information we can get on the stock. I'm not sure why there's no relative volume yesterday or for the last 30 days. I don't think she's been halted. In either case, today's volume, we were at 1.3 million. Share structure for Kiwi. Look at that. Super duper low float. 530,000 shares. Now, I'm presuming the insiders are going to be owning something. You got to subtract that from the outstanding share count. What is that going to leave us, folks? If this company does just 1 million shares, every share has to sell twice. If we have 500,000 shares in the float, but what if there's only 200,000 and she goes to 10 million tomorrow? Folks, this thing could go parabolic. It would look like a short squeeze because there aren't enough shares to go around. And people are going to know that, and they're going to hold their shares, and the price is going to go up. Now, just so you know, this is against the rules of the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. They passed a rule about 6 months ago that says you cannot have a float less than 1.5 million. And you cannot do a reverse stock split if you put yourself in that boat of having less than 1.5 million. But in saying that, I have not seen anybody get tagged for that. Nobody's been out of compliance for not having enough shares. And it's a real easy fix. All you got to do is put more shares on the market. Ta-da! How easy is that? And the company gets to keep that money. Let's see here. Taking a look at the market cap. We got no market cap right now, but based on this, If we have about a 500,000 shares at $5, you've got what? 2.5 million market cap, roughly. Taking a look at the financials, they're making money pretty much where they were 4 years ago, just a little over $1 million and just around $350,000 profit. Quarterlies. Uh-oh. Well, they were making money for the first 3 quarters of the last 5, but where's the last 2? Oh, wait a minute. No. These are quarterlies on a yearly basis. The 9th and the 6th, the 9th and the 6th. So I don't know what that's about. Not getting any information there. Cash and cash equivalents. What do they got in the bank? About $212,000. Company's worth about 4.1 in assets, 3.1 in liabilities. So we are holding a little bit of equity. 1 million. We got $1 million, little bit of revenues, a little bit of profit. So it's not looking too bad in that regard. And disclosures. Did we have anything here? What did I say over here today? Make any notes? No new notes. All right, let's check out this 6K. These are pretty quick. You just read the headline up at the top. Certification of its, oh, that's right. I did go through these. I remember now. These were all about the share consolidation, all of those last 3 there. So what we've got is a new contract, a super duper low float, and we've got stockholder equity. So things are looking pretty good. I don't know what the relative volume is, but she was at 1.3 million today with only a 500,000 shares. If that keeps growing, she's definitely worth keeping on your watch list tomorrow. So let's go take a look now at KWE. No complaints over there. Yes. Oh my God, she's still climbing. Bloody hell. Look at that big W. W for winner. At the end of the top of the W, you normally get a run. What do we get? An explosive run. Oh boy. Well, I was at the bottom of my cup there. It took everything I put in today. I did make some money in the morning, and that's a lesson I've learned. Honestly, I make my money up to 10:30 in the morning. After that, anything I get into for an option drags out through the day, frustrates me to all hell, and I'm playing chase with it half the time. I don't think I should play options after 10:30 in the morning. I never lose. Hardly ever do I lose up to 10:30 in the morning. Take a hint, right? All right, let's close all this up and take a look at our first chart, which is going to be KWE. Here we go. Let's kick this all the way back to a yearly chart. Let's get an idea of what she's been doing. Get our 52-week high and low. Well, she's had a good year, hasn't she? Oh, that's the cue. Bloody hell. Yeah, tease me. Oh, boy, not a great year. All right, let's get rid of all these lines. No problem. We can put them up again. Yes, we can. So that's what we got going, folks. Look at that humongous burst today. She's been in a downtrend for the entire year. We had a huge bump back here. Now, these prices have been kicked up now after the reverse stock split of 1 in 21, right? Everything on the chart was kicked up by 21 times. So if you have a high one day of $1, go look at it now. It says the high is $21. And they're not going to fix it. It's not going to come back to $1. It's going to stay like that forever and ever and ever, as far as I know. And I hate that. So we had a big jump here. They say it went from like $4 up to $11.60. You can't trust the numbers, but you're looking at over 200% run. Whatever the numbers were, right up to the 200, then back down into the downtrend. She got up over top of the 200 hole here, and she has just been floating between the 50 and the 200 all this time, hitting a 52-week low here, a real low of 18 cents, and then jumping, hitting a high today of, oh my God, come on, that's got to be the reverse stock split, $7.25. You know, I'm going to get confused here. Let's come on down to the 4-hour. If we have one big bar, okay, we have one big bar here, folks. Let me take a look at the 15-minute. Yeah, that big bar right there. Maybe in a day or two, that's going to be gone, and the charts are going to be swallowing it up. It'll come back down, and then they're going to multiply the charts. So we actually do have a high there of over $11 that jumped from $4. Those are real numbers. Those have not been changed yet, but they're going to Take my word for it, it's going to change. This big bar is going to disappear. You're not going to see this huge run after the reverse stock split. She went from, oh goodness, let's call it 20 cents up to $7 roughly. She fell back down to the 9-day, took off, hit a high of $7.20 after the reverse stock split. That's what you call a successful reverse stock split. Most of the time, after they hit this high, they come down through that 9-day and come way down here somewhere. And it isn't even worth it. It isn't worth it. If you are losing money, you're losing compounded. Big time, way down here. But this is hung on to more than 50%. We're way the heck up here, and she is starting to turn up right now. Everything is starting to climb. It waited for the 20-day MA, needed some extra support, could not push off of the 9. It tried, couldn't get anywhere, came back down. But now that it's got some more support, we have a chance. But it may need more support. It may be waiting for these, which is going to take some time to catch up to it. All of our oscillators right now are actually falling. Even though she's been going sideways, even with a climb, all of our oscillators are pretty much falling, which is more or less a divergence. You would expect this to pop back in, which would mean this would dip. When a divergence corrects, that means your oscillators are doing the opposite of the price. One of them or all of them. Well, when it does correct, the price aligns to the oscillators. Well, the oscillators are pretty much falling right now. We see a little hint of coming up on our PPO. That's our 5-day, 15-minute. Let's just take a look at our 1 minute for after hours. All right, you can see once she came down to this point, she is flatlined, folks. She is on top of her 200. The 200 MA caught up, but she didn't do anything. Nothing. She hasn't taken a clue, hasn't taken support. She's just going sideways. Our oscillators, goodness gracious, what's going on with that PPO? Let's see if I can zoom in on that a bit. PPO is falling. Our ADX is in a bad position. Red line is at the top. That means your downtrend is dominant. The yellow line is at the top. That is as strong as it can get. The weakest is at the bottom. So that says our downtrend is very strong. So this looks like it's coming down probably at least to the 200. That's where it's been bouncing right now. Our MACD is falling and our RSI is cool, going sideways at 1 minute. So I don't see anything going on with KWE, but with this super tiny float, which they have not changed yet. I didn't see any filings that said they were doing a public offering. Not yet. I would expect that they will. It at least deserves to be on your watch list for tomorrow. If volume comes in, this thing could move very, very quickly. Right now, she's a bit stunned. She had a big day. She held most of her gains. Bravo for her. She's coming through aftermarket, still hanging on. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay, let's jump into the next stock, folks. We are now going to take a look at Mark Warren's ticker. This is NG Nova Gold Resources. Make sure everyone can hear me. Look at TMC, please. I'll try, Magic Matt. We'll try. So, Mark Ryan brought us NG. This is a gold mine company in Alaska. They are in the exploration, which is equivalent to research and development with a biotech. It means they're not making any money. Now, they got a lot of potential. Most of these mines do. But this is a gold mine. And gold right now is hitting all-time highs. Gold is what everybody is running towards. The dollar is falling. People are losing confidence in it. The economy, yeah, with these tariffs, who the heck knows? But gold is forever. So gold is getting a lot of attention. As I said, they aren't getting any revenues, but they do have a $1 billion deal in the news. They've had directors come in and buy 6.3 million warrants. Now, normally I take notice when they buy shares. You buy shares, a lot of them, that means something's going on. But when you buy warrants, it means something is going on down the road. Warrants give you the right to buy shares at a guaranteed cheap price 3 to 5 years down the road. This is how Warren Buffett makes millions of dollars, because he gets lots and lots of warrants given him for free when he invests all that money into a company. He says, I want warrants. And then when they are successful from his investment, he buys all of these shares super duper cheap. Now that will add 6.3 million shares to the float when they are exercised. It gives birth to a new share. But to see a director buying 6.3 million warrants all at one time, that means something. And we had a new investor come in filing a 13D or G. They had bought 25% of the company. So let's see what we got going here. Nova Gold Resources, based out of Utah, finished today outside of Pennyville. Let's not make this a habit. She's at $5.06. She was up almost 8.5% today, jumping about 40 cents. This is a hot penny stock on the major exchange, the New York Stock Exchange. So you know what the company does? Actually, I want to give you a little more information, and I've come over here to get it because they give me not only news, but they give me a breakdown of the company, and I wasn't able to find any information over there at the OTC, so I ran over here. Now, my news wasn't coming up over there either, so I used this news. Now it's coming up, but in either case, this is what's going on. Nova Gold and Paulson Advisors announced a $1 billion transaction to acquire 50% of Donlin Gold project from Barrick. Now, this company operates, I thought they owned Donlin Gold project in Alaska. That's the way the information reads. Now, Barrick, is Barrick another investor? I don't know. I was looking around to see who the heck is Barrick. What is Barrick? But what's happened here is that these two, the company, Nova Gold and Paulson Advisors, between the two have put $1 billion into Donlin Gold. The company just increased their hold from 50% to 60%. So they are the ones in charge. They have control. And the other company put in $800 million, getting 40% of the company. So that's a big deal. Between the company and somebody else, $1 billion was just invested into this company. Now let's break down the bullets because they really tell you why. The acquisition of higher ownership stake in one of the world's largest undeveloped gold projects. Project contains 39 million ounces of gold at double industry average grade. Projected 27-year mine life with 1.1 million ounces annual production. Significant exploration potential with only 5% of the total land package being explored. Strong funding commitment secured from major investors. No kidding. So gold is in and they've got a lot of it. When are they going to get to it? When are they going to start pulling out of the ground? I have no clue, which is why I really don't invest in mining companies, especially if they're not making any money, because it seems to take a very long time for anything to get done. So jumping on over here to the news, there is the news that I just read. And then they say, as you probably are aware, gold stocks are quietly outperforming the rest of the market. There is a lot of confidence in gold. And I think anything gold right now is probably going to do well. When Bitcoin is surging and going over 100,000, anything related to Bitcoin, even crypto, starts to run. I would start looking for all the gold companies I could. I would, including this one. So let's take a look now at the relative volume for NG today. Double, close enough, jumping from 3.6 million as an average over the last 30 days to 6.4 million today. Share structure for Nova Gold is high, average. 334 million outstanding. I have no clue what the insiders own. Subtract that from this number, that's going to give us our float. Now, it can't be any higher than 334, but it could be considerably less depending on how many shares the insiders own. Look at that. We've got a decent market cap here, don't we? $1.5 billion. You get a high market cap when you have a lot of shares and a decent price. Taking a look at the financials for NG. Nada. They're not making any money. They're exploration, but they got a balance sheet. Still remembering those 3 zeros behind the numbers on these charts. We've got about 34 million in the bank. We have 102 million in assets for the company, 158 million in liabilities. So we, the investors, are holding $56 million in stockholder deficit. I don't know how long this company's been around, and I don't know how long it's going to take them before they start making revenues. But between then and then, who's been paying them? Where do they get their paychecks from? Where do you think that $56 million came from? I don't know if they got all of it, but they got a lot of it. Let's take a look at the disclosures for the company. We've got a Form 4 here. This is that director that owns 10%, I believe. Yes, the 10% director, Electrum Strategic Resources, bought themselves 6.3 million warrants. And was there anything else that we could consider over here? The 13D. Now, 13DA means it was amended. So it didn't just happen. You've got to look at the top to see the date. You never know how old it was. This was just a few days ago. And this is Electrum Strategic Resources, right? They just bought all the warrants to make money down the road. So they believe this company is going to be profitable and the charts are going to get higher through the years. Well, they just invested, I didn't know it was the same company, 25% of the company's regular shares. They just became an insider. That's good to know. And that basically covers it. We do have some 8Ks here. Poke our head in real quick. 8Ks are material change. Material definitive agreement. You're going to want to read the first paragraph at least. This is about those warrants that we were just looking at. And we got another 8K just at the beginning of the month. Quickly, we got things to do here. Financial condition, providing updates on, this is the investments that we were reading about. So they got filings backing all that up as well. So that is what is happening with Nova Gold. Basically, we've got a lot of money that was just poured into the company. Taking a look now at the charts. NG. Let's open this up so you can get some meat on those bones. Roll around back to a year. Yeah. Not your average yearly chart. So a year ago, we were back here at about $2.86 underneath the 200. 200 was falling, went flat right here. She was already trying to break out. When it went flat, she had something solid to bounce off of and had a nice run. She jumped here from the 200 at about $3.25 and went up to almost $5. She bounced around a lot until she finally came back down to that 200, struggling to stay on the 200. She fell underneath it, down to the 200 haul, bounced on that, and totally lost everything. I don't know what did that, but she lost it all and fell down to $2.36. That was back on, where's the date? April 10th. Off of that low bubble, she bounced fast. And that's a good sign. I don't know where they see the value, except it's gold. You know, we don't have any stockholder equity. We don't have any revenues. We don't have any profits. All we got is gold in the ground that they plan on getting to sooner rather than later, hopefully. But she ran off of that low bubble immediately from 226 up to 506, and she's holding it. She's up there holding that ground, breaking through all of the supports I had drawn here. Lots of volume came into the picture today. All of our oscillators are ripping. Everything is hot and on fire. Taking a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. Steady downhill trend. A lot of volatility in there, but she was on a downhill trend. Had a nice pop here. Then from this extreme to that extreme, and then back up to another extreme, looking strong. Look at her just sitting on that 9-day. She isn't even coming down to the 20 or anything else for that matter. This is looking very, very strong. All of our oscillators on our 4-hour chart are going to the moon. Everything is climbing hard and steep. Taking a look at our 20-day, 1 hour. No, that's the 30-minute. Yeah, that's the same thing. We've got a drop and a pop. Let's take a look at that 30-minute. Looked a little bit different. Yeah, that looks different. That's a perfect chart, folks. The reason I say that is our low bubble is in this corner, high bubble in that corner. Who cares what happens in between? That's a perfect chart. She was climbing as everything was closing in. We've got a 200 squeeze right there, folks, with the 200 haul just turning blue coming up. The price in the middle of the other 200 sitting on top of the 50. Once this setup happens, you normally see the price run to and through the 200. Then it'll normally come back down to the 200 and bounce, check it out, make sure it's secure, and then start to run. And we had a nice, steady, slow run on the 50. Then we had a run away off of the 50 onto that 9, back down to the 200 haul on the 50, another jump. She's back down to the 200 haul. We could get another jump here, folks. We have just hit a high after market, haven't we? Let's come on down to that 1 minute. So we had that nice pop yesterday. She came down to the 200 and she's hanging on to that 200, folks. That's a nice, secure sign here. She does not want to fall. We have just hit a high after market. She's dipping a little bit right now, but she's dipping only to bounce. As far as I'm concerned, she is coming down to this 20. Never going to come down to this. If she breaks it, yeah, but I don't think she's going to break the 20. I think gold is hot. I think this company, with their billion-dollar investment and having more shares being bought up by the same person who bought the warrants, says a lot about this company, front door and back door. So I'm liking NG. I really don't like mining companies that don't make revenues. I don't like mining companies, period. Honestly, that's just me. I'm not picking on anybody who does. But this is one I'm going to be watching. This is one that could get hot. With all that gold in the ground, there is potential for this stock's warrants to be worth something. Oh, you know what? Hot diggity dang. All right, I'm all done talking about this one. Velmore did not want to see KWE. She wanted to see KWS. KWE. Do I have to use the /WS to get to it? No? Is it just W? What is it? Well, where's the warrant for it, Velmore? Normally, we got to put a / and a WS here if it uses that, or we just use a W. Well, doggone it, Velmore. I'm checking the comments right now. I'm going to go see what you gave me. You said KWEWS. KWEWS. Sorry, hon, I can't get the warrant. I know that's what you wanted to look at. All right, I can see the comment. Barrick has underperformed gold badly. Oh, Barracks. Thank you very much. So Barracks is involved with this somehow? I'm going to have to do some deep dive on NG to see how Barracks came into this. They owned some of that mine, and these two people bought all of it from them. What am I doing here on the page? That's always scary. You never know what's going to happen on this show, folks. Live is just that, live. Where is it? Sometimes I lose sound. Sometimes I lose picture. I've never lost the internet. Okay, we are going to take a look at Soon now. We have two solar companies that we're going to consider, but both of them are different from each other. They're doing the same thing, but with different sorts of products. Soon was brought to me by Dino Trades. Thank you, pal. They deal with solar panels and energy storage. Of course, if you're going to have solar panels on a house, you want to be able to put that power somewhere. We used to sell it back to the electric companies. Nobody wants to do that anymore. The company has a low float because they just did a reverse stock split April 21st, a 1 and 200 EGADS, folks. That kicked the price up 200 times from wherever it was. Their filings, they've got a lot of miscellaneous filings that we really don't need to look at. They're important, but not from our standpoint. The only one I found worthy of considering was they have a shelf offering. They didn't say they're doing it. It's one of those practice filings. If you ever see red print up at the top, let me see here. I'll show it to you. Where is it? Dun, 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 dun. All right. Well, I think it's right there. Whenever they have red print up at the very top, it's a trial, and a shelf offering means they're selling a little bit of everything they got. Everything. So they're going to be putting more shares on the market, more warrants on the market, more units on the market, whatever the heck they got. So Soon Nation Energy, this is a company based out of New York. They finished today at just about $3 and we're up just about 3.5%. Jumped 10 cents. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Now, as I said, the company deals with solar panels. What is going on? Let me see if I can refresh this, folks. Oh, boy. Okay, while this is coming up, I do remember some of the stuff. The company used to be called Pineapple Energy, and their ticker was PEGY. Come on. And obviously now the ticker has been changed to ticker SUNE. Trying to close a few windows here, see if I can get some memory back. I told you I was running on the cusp. Hopefully this will help. Ay, caramba. All right, so back to Soon and back to the company's page, and it is there. There we go. Live. You got to love it. Pineapple Energy was Peggy, now Soon Nation Energy, ticker SUNE. As I said, they do deal with the solar panels on the house. They have the one-time solar purchase, financing options, and you can lease their solar power. And of course, they're going to be working with the storage of it as well. Now, they got 3 subsidiaries. They have Sun Nation Energy, which works primarily, and as far as I can see, only in New York for the last 13 years. They also have facilities and a subsidiary working in Hawaii. And then they've got another one here that works with the storage of their energy. Now, I don't know if they're working with batteries or if they have a contract with somebody or exactly how they're doing that, but they are working with storage as well. Now, the company is making money, and they're only in 2 states. So when we look at their revenues, consider that fact, that if they were in more than 2 states, they'd be doing a heck of a lot more money. Taking a look at the news. Let's see here. Most of the news here is talking about their financials. They've been working on them, trying to get them fixed. On April 9th, the company strengthens their financial position via recently completed financing and debt reduction, which runs into the news that came out today. Sun Nation Energy restructures a $5.5 million of long-term debt, improving cash flow and enhancing liquidity. So that's what they've been working on primarily. But they did close a deal. They signed a letter of intent with Energy Systems Group to construct a 2.3 megawatt DC of solar projects at 2 prominent school districts on Long Island, New York. So what was the relative volume around Soon today? Well, that's a nice jump, right? On the major exchange, she was only doing about 200,000 shares a day. That's under the radar. Today, she's making herself decent at 1.6 million, doing about 8 times her normal volume. Share structure for Soon. Well, look at that, folks. That's what you get with a 1 in 200 reverse stock split. So multiply that. You can see they were up over 600 million shares before the reverse stock split. Right now, we're down to 3.2 million without subtracting the insiders. We've got ourselves a super duper low float, folks. Whatever it isn't going to be any higher than 3.2, and I'm pretty sure it's less than that. Market cap, we're at 9.3 million. Taking a look at our financials. Are they making money? Yes. Yes, and it's kicked up considerably. Their best year was 2023. They were at 79, almost 80 million. They fell at the end of 2024 to 56 million, but they're still bringing home steady profit of about 20.5 million. Quarterlies. Yes, we've got quarterlies. They're doing between 13 and 20 million. And right now we're sitting at about 15.5 million with roughly 5.5 million profit. So business has been steady for them. Balance sheet for the company. We got 1.1 million in the bank, 45 million in total assets. Total liabilities is less, 37. So we're actually holding stockholder equity in this company of 8.5 million. We've got strong revenues, we've got strong profits, and we've got stockholder equity. Looks good to me. And looking at our disclosures, we had miscellaneous disclosures and we had a shelf offering. Right, we do want to look at that shelf offering. That's this S3 right here. Now, this is what I was saying. Whenever you have a form with a bunch of red print up at the top, it means it isn't done. It's a practice. It's a warm up. I don't know what the heck it is, but it hasn't happened. You'll know when this happens because you'll see another one come out without any red, and then you'll see a filing that says effect. That's it, effect. You open it up, it's one sentence. It's like the gun. It's off and running. They're selling them. So as soon as you see that effect filing, they're going to have this. They're going to be selling $100 million worth of everything: preferred stock, common stock, debt securities, stock purchase contracts, warrants, rights, units, everything. The company wants to make some money now that they've got their debt under control. So that takes care of everything for soon except the chart. So we can go look at that pretty soon. See what I did there? I know. Jumping on over here too soon. Too soon for me. Oh, cut it out, John. All right, we're looking at ticker SUNE, Sun Nation Energy. Let's roll this back to the 1 day, 1 year. All right, yes, we do have a reverse stock split right there, 1 in 200. We don't have a big green bar, right? No green bar. This got swallowed up by the charts. That's why we have this ridiculously high bubble back here. This happened back in May of last year. Wow, what a great day. That day they hit $62,700. That's what it reads, folks. That's why I hate these reverse stock splits and they're adjusting the charts. They never used to do that. When I first started trading, that big green bar would be on the chart forever, and you knew what happened. It was obvious. Now you just don't know. You've got to go look, especially if they don't put some purple bubble on your chart. So I don't know what the numbers were back here, folks, but we had a big bounce here. It looks, well, it went from $872 to $62,000. I don't know. That's a huge jump, whatever it was. It's massive, but not that big. She came back down right to where she started from, as if it never happened. Took another poke, came back to right where she started, and then fell. And she's been going sideways for a very, very, very long time, doing nothing, folks. And here we hit a low bubble. God, we can't even see our bars. They're so freaking flat. $2.34. We hit that yesterday. That is after the reverse stock split, I'm presuming. Ooh, these reverse stock splits are killer. Let's come on down to our 4 hour. Does that look any better? Well, we got a big stair step here. Kaboom. I wonder if this is when they announced or had a vote that they were going to do a reverse stock split. 200 got close. Looked like she wanted to break out, but when it did get close, she didn't. And she didn't for a long time. These red lines here are months. Months and months and months went by, and it doesn't look like a whole lot's happening here. She is in a position of a 200 squeeze with a 200 haul at the bottom, 200 MA at the top. She's underneath the 50, very, very close. But she's been there for a long time. She hasn't done anything to show she's interested in climbing. Our oscillators don't show any heat whatsoever. I would have to really zoom in to see if they're doing anything. They all look flat. Let's come on down to our 20-day, 1 hour view. So there's a big drop right there, $117 down to $3.66. Those are multiplied by the ratio, so don't worry about that. But you can see it was a huge pop and a huge drop. It was trying to break out on a falling 200. You can't do that. No. If you try to break out over a 200 when it's falling and do not come back down of your own volition, you're going to get punished. You will fall further than where you started. And that's what happened here. Wow. All the way down, been down here for about 10 days. Here's our reverse stock split trying to save our butt. But where's the bar? Right? We see no bar, and you don't even see that anything's changed after the reverse stock split. I'm not going to say it got worse, but it sure didn't get better. Our oscillators, well, we see a little bit of heat in our ADX. That's climbing, and our green line is on the top saying that our dominant trend is the uptrend, even though I can't see it much here. We've got volume in the picture. Most of it is green. And that's really all I can see on our 1 hour chart. Goodness gracious. I'm coming all the way down to the 5 minute. So about 5-6 days ago, we had a high of $7.20 over the 200. She fell fast and hard. Then we had a reverse stock split here. You'd never know it. Our 200 went semi-flat right there. She had a jump and bump, came back down and tapped it and fell underneath. She should have tapped it a few times here. That would have turned our 200 up, and we would have had a trend change, and most likely she'd have started climbing right there. But instead, she went back up underneath after the reverse stock split, hitting this low of $2.34. She has jumped back up onto the 200, and she's sitting up there right now, but she's not showing a whole lot of enthusiasm. Now, I guess there is some enthusiasm. We're looking for runs, but that's a pretty big bump, right? We're going from $2.73 up to $3.18, but she isn't going far and staying there. So what we know here, folks, is that she takes a climb and then she comes down. Take your gains, or you're going to be hanging around for a while to get back up to where you were. It's easier to take your gains when she starts to come down underneath the 9. You know she's going to fall, folks. She comes under the 9, she's going to start falling. If she rolls to 20, it's going to fall even further. So you might as well get in when the first change of direction happens. If you're wrong, so what? You took gains. Get back in if you want. If you think she's going to continue climbing, get back in. But if she's not, wait for her to come back down and find a good level spot, support someplace where she's going to take a bounce and get in again. Don't hang around watching your green stock turn red. Take your gains. So our 5-minute chart shows she is climbing, folks. She's gradually climbing. She's got some volatility. She's getting some attention. They've got their debt taken care of. They're about ready to make some money. Now, in most cases, when a public offering occurs, you do see the stocks fall because you're diluting the shares. Well, we've got a low float. It just became a low float. So we're really not diluting it, right? There was 600 million shares plus there before. So now we're down to 3 million. We're not really diluting it. So they're going to put more shares on the market, pick that number up, and probably pick the stock's price up. I'm thinking that this could cause the stock to run, contrary to popular belief. That's my opinion. You think it out yourself. Okay, soon we're done with you. You guys saying anything over here? I need a break. Dino, you say our charts are different. First off, I am using Heiken Ashi bars. Heiken Ashi bars do not have any gaps. You don't have any spreads. You don't have any dashes. Every single Heiken Ashi bar starts in the middle of the previous bar and then jumps to whatever the price is. So you get a nice smooth line. So it can look completely different than candles. And to be completely honest, I do keep one window open on my primary play on candles. And I have Heiken Ashi because I can see patterns on Heiken Ashi better, but I can read the stock movement better using the regular candles. Sorry, John. KESW. Really? I'm surprised by that too, Velmore. I have not seen an S in front of the W, and there's no line or dot or anything. Very interesting. We'll jump on over there when we get back to the next ticker. Promise. Well, you may have to ring my phone and remind me. Mountaintop, where you been, dude? Been a minute. Yeah, if you're minutes or months, geez, where you been? Another planet? Glad to see you here, pal. Magic Matt, yeah, I was looking at all the stuff you've been talking about. I'm glad you brought all that stuff about barracks to my attention. I want to be taking a look at that. All right, wanted to catch up to you guys. Hold on. I need some of this too. It's my nicotine, not THC. That's these big long ones. I got the That's okay. We're ready to rock and roll, girls and boys. Jumping into our next ticker, we have got, all I need to do is come up here, don't I? I'm sorry about that. Oh, yeah. This is one that was requested last week. I had done my due diligence. I had all of that locked in, but it locked up my computer. And this was one of them. And I remember it because I have never, ever heard of a company like this before. And when I was reading it, looking at it, I'm thinking, really? Honestly, a public company is going to be doing this? So I'm kind of glad to share this one with you. This is VGTL. VGTL comes to us by way of by the underdog. This company, believe it or not, studies UAPs, the new term for UFOs, and space traffic. They have no revenues, as you might expect. They have no products. They have one current filing. What the heck is that about? 220, one current filing. I guess we'll look at it when we get there. And an interesting CEO letter. Yes, we do. So this is VGTEL Inc., ticker VGTL. VGTEL. Why am I having a hard time with this? This is a company out of Wyoming where the skies are wide open and you can see. But that's not really where they're at. I do believe they're overseas. The company finished today at a very good price, 0019. Folks, all that has to do is go to 004, basically, and you have doubled your money. That's a tiny move down there on the chart. She jumped today 0002 to get herself an 11, call it a 12% gain. She is on the pink tier of the OTC. That's the bottom tier. It is the riskiest tier. These are the riskiest stocks you will ever trade on the markets. You can debate that with me later. But pinks are risky because they have no validated information. Most of the companies have no financials. They give us disclosures, which are basically management tallying up their receipts and giving it to us. Big deal. But they can voluntarily use 10Ks and 10Qs. Whenever you see a pink using 10Ks and 10Qs, pay attention to that company. They want to be transparent. They're not trying to hide anything. I'm not quite sure about this company. We'll have to wait till we get there. The only validated information you really get is this right here, those two green ticks. And they come from the OTCmarkets.com website. That's one of their jobs, to look at information behind the scenes. So we've got a validated, verified profile and a verified transfer agent, which are real good. So when you do due diligence on these, since you normally aren't going to have financials or any filings at all you're going to have is news, right? Well, that's the hype. Don't be relying on the news for your investment advice. You want to study the management, folks. You're taking their word for everything. Unless they're using 10Ks and 10Qs, you're taking their word for everything, including the news. And you can write news up very slick so that you're not promising anything, that you're leaving back doors open for this major deal you've got or this new technology nobody's ever heard of. Just be careful. Take the news with a grain of salt. So, as I said, this company deals with UFOs and other things. They actually have a site. Yes, they do. And I'm just going to read this because I'm thinking, what can you say? What are you going to do to make money? We've been studying UFOs for a long time. Nobody's found a way to make money except for selling dolls or having a tourist attraction somewhere. VGTEL's Beyond Earth project is committed to unlocking the mysteries of our skies by developing a global atmospheric monitoring system that brings transparency to unidentified aerial phenomena, that's UAPs now, known as UFOs, also unknown traffic and space debris, both within and beyond Earth's atmospheric border. We believe the sky is more than just a highway for air traffic. It's a gateway to new possibilities. Beyond Earth's project is a systematic study and research that investigates replication and reanalysis abstracts of published scientific white papers in a structured, organized manner following defined protocols to comprehensively gather and analyze all relevant evidence, typically aiming for unbiased and reproducible results through a systematic review. Our mission is to integrate cutting-edge technologies to observe, analyze, and understand these phenomena, and ensuring public safety and equipping humanity with the knowledge to chart the future wherever the unknown becomes known. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's great. But again, how are you going to make money on this? What is it that you think you can produce information-wise, product-wise, that somebody's going to pay you for? So, jumping into the information, I found the most recent filing. This is what I was talking about. They only have one recent filing. The rest are all pretty old. This one says that they had filed filings for authorization for astronomy research and global atmospheric monitoring. These are all the different places. Requests for astronomy research authorization, licensing for data collection and global monitoring, compliance with space and atmospheric observation regulations, coordination of national, international aerospace entities, and approval for aerospace remote sensing and astronomical imaging. They've applied for all of that. So obviously they have a plan to do something, but I still wasn't getting the big picture. I want to know where the money's going to come from. What you're doing is admirable. Great. But where's the money? So diving into the news, we see they have a lot of different people and organizations who want to get on board here. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but there's a lot of people. But a lot of this is old stuff. The most recent news is right here, the CEO letter in VGTEL. Now, this is about a neuroscience coming on board to study conscientious research and scientific integration. I don't know what his job is going to be. This is what I found interesting, the CEO letter. Now, we're not going to go through all of this, folks, but he tells you how they plan on making money. He has a business plan here, basically. I mean, it doesn't get into everything, but he breaks down what their ideas are, what their advantages are, what business sectors they're going to go into, what sort of enterprises they're thinking about. So they have lots of information that you can dive into here. But again, it seems to be primarily about information. You know, if we can use our technology to discover how these UAPs are flying without using fuel that we use, what is it? Maybe we can see something that we can analyze and put to use. I don't know. But the door is open. They're a public company now. They're going to be raising money. But in my opinion, it could be a long time before we see any money, unless they do something surprising or had something crash in their backyard and they've got technology that they didn't tell anybody about, and all of a sudden they just show up with it. You never can tell with a think. Watch the news. Watch the news. See if they don't come out with something wild here. Okay, so that's what we've got to consider with this company. What was the relative volume for them? Well, it's gaining a lot of interest, isn't it? It's doubled her volume. She jumped from about 20 million to just over 41 million today. Share structure for the company? Yeah, it's up there. She's up at 810 million shares. Insiders own about 20 million shares. That ain't much. We get all the rest. 791 million shares. Whoa. Reverse stock split? I don't know. First off, always do a search on Google. Put in consolidation, split, company's ticker, company's name. You'll get something. If they had a shareholder meeting and voted on it anytime in the last year, it's on the books. They could use it when they want to. When would they use it? When they start approaching a penny, when they've been running for 3 to 4 days, catching a lot of attention, catching a lot of volume. That's when you'll see it used. And they'll give you a 5-day notice. That's supposed to be the rules, though I do see them cut it close. 3 days, sometimes 1 day. Market cap for the company, we're at 1.3 million. financials. No, they're not making any money. I don't think they're going to be making money for a while. They've got nothing in the bank. Come on. How can a company not have anything in the bank? Total current assets, I'm not quite sure what other current assets mean. You know what? When I was reading, I did discover that they have a huge, very special, it's not a telescope, but I guess you'd call it a telescope, like a gyroscope or something. Very special. I'll bet you that thing costs $800,000. Don't doubt it at all. I think it is over in, is it Ireland? I think it's over in Ireland. I may be wrong about that. That is their total assets, that telescope, $800,000. Total liabilities, guess they haven't paid for it yet, $851,000. The $51,000 is the interest. And guess what? We get $51,000. Now, how does that work out? Stockholder equity. It should be, that's right. All right, that's right. I'm thinking ahead here. So we're owing $51,000 in stockholder deficit for the company. No revenues, no profit. Don't see any revenues in the near future. So if you're going to get into this one, folks, all I can see is it's just going to be market sentiment. It's going to be investor excitement because we're dealing with something different, unique, strange, UFOs, space stuff, aliens, stuff like that. So God only knows what could happen, honestly. And looking at their disclosures, there's the most recent one, and it really isn't that recent. That was the one we looked at. That was back in February. Then we got to go back to 2024. So I'm kind of interested. I have not looked at the chart for ticker VGTL, so you guys can look at it with me. Should be number 4, VGTL. Roll the clock back a year. It doesn't go back a year. No, it does not. Yes, I did glance at this chart because I was surprised to see that the low here is a 0. What? When do you see 0? You see 0001. That's the floor. You can't go under 0001. You can't hit 0. It's not possible. Yet there it is. We have just seen the impossible, where miracles never cease. Off of this, which was her first day, this was on November 4th, she's been steady climbing. She's been floating on the 9-day, which was all she had. Then came along the 20. She had knocked wood with that. She bounced off the 20 a couple times and back to the 9-day. She went from that 0 all the way up to 0025 there. That's a huge run. Well, it is. She came back down to the 9. She's hit it a couple times, and now she's running off of the 9. And here comes our 50. Now, whenever I see a new MA come onto the board, I am a little gun shy, especially if the price is above it, because in a lot of cases, I will see the price gravitate to the new strong MA. This has got more data. It's more reliable. This says after 50 days, the average price should be right here. This says after 20 days, it should be here. After 9 days, it should be up here. Well, investors may rely on this information better so it could fall all the way down. Now, just because it goes to it doesn't mean it's going to stay there. Sometimes it just pays homage, tags it, and it's off and running back to whatever it was doing. Now, if the price is underneath it, that's good. It normally pulls that price up, and from there, you normally get a push off. So I do like to see it in that case. Taking a look now at our let's go 20-day, 1-hour view. Do we still get it? No. That's flat there, too. Why is that flat? I don't know. Heikenashis are never flat, so why that's flat, I'm really curious about. So we're down here at 0005. She hit that low of 0003 here and bounced off of that, hitting that high of 0025. Which would be about 600, over 600% run right there. That took a long time. Let's not say it was quick. That took a while to do that. She came back down. She's broke underneath her 20. She has not come down to the 50. She is rolling back up on top of the 20, looking like a crouch and pounce. I'd be keeping my eye on this. Volume is getting stronger at the end of the day, and it's all green. Our oscillators are pretty weak, though. Not a lot to really see here. Our PPO is on top. Our ADX, nah, says a downtrend is strong. Well, downtrend is dominant, but it's not strong. Our yellow line is at the very base, and we see our uptrend. Our green line is just now starting to bounce off the bottom, which is a token sign. We look for the bounce off the bottom. It's got to bounce a little harder, but we look for that. Our MACD is trying to cross over right now. It is pushing up, and our RSI is level at 55. Base cool. Don't want to see it any less than that. 5-day, 15-minute chart. She's basically going sideways with an inkling of trying to climb. She rode up on her 50. She came under the 50. She is just now getting back on top. Our 9 days on top. Our 20-day is crossing over the 50 right now. She looks like she's trying to climb. Not a lot of energy, not a lot of power, but this is where it starts. Slowly and then fast. So she is starting to push off here. And looking at our 1 minute, well, she's got a lot of bouncing around here. Our 200-day MA went flat right here. She did take that break. She jumped up onto the 200, has bounced off of it a couple of times, gotten a nice high off of that one bounce, came back down to the 20, not the 200, and she is starting to climb. All looking good for a continuation. I'm going to put VGTL on my list, not for any reason except a curiosity. She's a freak of nature. She had a 0 on her chart, and she's dealing with UFOs. Doesn't get much weirder than that. Okay, was that all the charts I had? No, I got one more. So let's go take a look at ASTI. That's right, we had one more solar company, right? But this one is different than the last solar company. ASTI comes to us by Kevin B. This is a thin solar panel. It looks like a peel and stick. It really does. They had really low daily volume today. They've got a super low float. Their product seems to be coming space dominated because of its lightweight and applications. It is really a great product, folks. And they seem to be voting on a reverse stock split in May. So let's get some information here about Ascent Solar Technologies. This solar company is based out of Colorado. She finished today at $1.60. She was up almost 1%. Almost. This is a penny stock on the major exchange. She is on the NASDAQ. Now, a picture's worth 1,000 words. That is her solar panel. Check that out, folks. Flexible, thin, super thin, so that you can use it on anything. You could put it on your electric vehicles. You could put it on planes, satellites. Wow. They're using it in agricultural forms because it's moldable. You can put it around poles. They're using this for all sorts of stuff, folks. But their primary purpose right now seems to be space. And I recognize DARPA, and I recognize NASA, and over here is the Army. These are their partners. So they have got strong backup right now, folks. So they've got a hot product. Taking a look at the news, going all the way back to March 18th, the company publishes a business update on their progress to establish long-term revenue to space solar solutions. Then you got more news here about their space program. This is what they're dedicating themselves to. This is super lightweight, and the sun shines out in space just like it does on Earth, folks. This, I believe, is going to be a huge product. Now, I've thought about this. They were selling it to consumers, and they are selling it to consumers. But you can't charge consumers what you're probably charging NASA, what you're charging DARPA. And these contracts are going to be big, but how many contracts do you get? Consumers, they don't pay as much, but boy, there's a lot of them. And this is a very sweet product. So I think the company's going to do really well with this product. And I think the space industry is probably just going to swarm this company unless there's other companies that got something like this. So there's lots of due diligence there for you to jump into, folks. They are space dominated now. Taking a look at the relative volume ferocity, as I said, low daily volume. For a long time, she has been doing less than 60,000 shares a day on the NASDAQ for the last 30 days. Today, she did less than that, half, 31,000 shares. What a shame. Share structure for OSTI. Well, we got a really nice float. I don't know what it is, but the outstanding share count's only 1.7 million. Subtract what the insiders hold, we've got ourselves a really super duper low float. So when the company does get some volume, it can move quick, folks. But always keep in mind, it can move just as fast, if not faster, when it starts to fall with the low float. So when it starts to climb and climb fast and starts becoming parabolic, sell something. Take gains, folks. Don't let your stock turn red. Market cap for OSTI, we're at 2.7 million. Financials, are they making money? Uh-oh. Why is that? Okay, over the last 4 years, they have had revenues, but they're not great. They were at a high of 1.2 million. 4 years ago, it's $500,000. Right now, we're at like $41,000, and they've never made a profit. How do you not make a profit with a product this hot, this unique, this usable in so many applications? I don't get it. Somebody's not marketing this thing right, or they're charging too much for it. Look at that, folks. Their quarterlies are disgusting. Flat zeros across the board at the end of 2024. And where's our most recent quarterly? We do need a quarterly report. They could be late right now. Balance sheet for the company. Well, thank God they got some money in the bank, 3.1 million. Total assets, 7.1 million. About half of that in liabilities, 3.7. So we do have stockholder equity, thank God, 3.3 million. No revenues anymore, no profit, but we've still got some profit. We got some stockholder equity here. Did I say something here? Oh, yeah. Did I have one more here to tell you there? There it is. This was the filing. It was up at the top. It was a 4B13 or something like that. Could have been an S3. They are having a shareholder meeting. They don't tell us the day. They just tell us the month. The day has not been set up yet. So this is in the works. It's not a solid filing. It's one of those warm-up filings. You'll see another one of these come out, maybe more than one. They say here they are voting on a reverse stock split of 1 to 3 up to 1 to 15. So they could have 1 to 3, 1 to 15. They're going to vote on that sometime in May. They're also going to vote on decreasing. Is that right? Yes. Reducing the authorized share count. That's interesting. Most companies vote to increase it. They want to decrease it from 500 million down to 200 million. These are all the shares they have authorized. These are shares they can put on the market. These are shares they can use as currency to make deals with other companies, to buy things. So they want less shares. I like that. That's always a good thing. In the background, it means more shareholder value is their consideration in their minds. So keep that in mind. They are considering a reverse stock split. So if this stock starts to run and starts getting hot after they've had their meeting, they can't do a reverse stock split until they approve it. After they approve it, if the stock gets hot and starts to run, look for a reverse stock split. Take your gains. There's lots of good reasons to take your gains, folks. All right, that does everything for OSTI except the chart. So let's go take a look at that. Number 5. OSTI, rolling the clock back to a year. Whoa. Flat as a pancake. I don't see any reverse stock splits. That doesn't mean we haven't had any, but the price is ridiculous. They say we had a high of $34. That was back on May 23rd. Looks to be a very unique day. We never ever got that high in the last year. You can see by this 200-day MA, she was a lot higher a ways back. We're not going to go take a look at that. So we had $34. That was back in May. And now we've got a 52-week low of $1.17, which hit just about 2 weeks ago at the beginning of April. Not a whole lot to see there. Are my lines blocking stuff? Let me see if I can zoom in on that just a wee bit. Yeah, you can see a little bit there. She's actually climbing. See if I can get a little more. There we go. So there's your yearly chart. Wow, we do see something awfully darn flat. So we were underneath everything here. She has come up on top of the 200. That's what she's working on right now, getting on top of that 20. There's our 50-day MA. Do we have a 200? Yeah, way the heck up there. But she is now starting to climb. She was down here at about $1.35. She's now up here at $1.70. So she is starting to work her way up. Oscillators, they don't have a lot of heat in them, even though she's climbing just a wee bit. Not a whole lot going on there. So there's our serious downtrend. $9. We took a drop here on August 13th from $9 down to $2.71 and never recovered that. I don't know why she fell. Jumped here to a double top. Looks like a big M, right? When she came down to the bottom of the M for murder, we expect it to fall. That's what she did. She came down. She jumped over the 200 haul. She's been going sideways, waiting for that 200 MA. Once it got close, she jumped on top of it. But she's not got any enthusiasm. The 200 is really pretty flat here, and she's not doing a thing. Then she took another jump here, going from 250 up to 450, then came down underneath the 200, which was actually climbing. She's climbing here. Why she came down under it is bewildering. She made an attempt to get back up. 200 wasn't having it. She jumped up and got thrown down. Fell all the way down here to that low, and off of that low, we've had an immediate bounce. Went green immediately after that low, crossing all of the MAs, getting on top of the 50, 200 haul turning blue. She is now working her way to and through the 200. All of our oscillators are climbing now. Everything is heated up on our 4-hour chart. Take a look at our 1 hour, 20-day view. So there was our pop. This came after market. Must have been news that day. Although, yeah, there could have been news. We looked at a lot of news. She jumped from 171 up to 318 just that fast and came down just that fast after market and then fell pre-market and ended up starting the day worse off than the day before. After hitting that low, we've had a nice gradual climb. It's not, furious or anything, but she's gotten up on top of that 50 and she is just religiously following it. She has now actually pushed her way off the 50 up onto the 20, and she's getting stronger as she is climbing. Everything is looking good. Now, our 200 isn't even flat yet. It is still actually falling. It needs to go flat, and it needs to start turning up. But everything is in great position here. This is beautiful that we actually have a breakout over a falling 200. All of our MAs went over it. The price went over it. Rare. I'm going to put this on my watch list because it's doing something I don't rarely see. But seeing something break over a falling 200 is very unique. All of our oscillators right now are very strong. Every single one of them is pushing up and climbing. Though our MACD still hasn't crossed over, it is pushing up. Taking a look at that 5-day, 15-minute. That's a nice chart. We got a low bubble in this corner, underneath the 200. High bubble in this corner, over the 200. When she was under the 200, she fixed that in a hurry, jumped up to the 50, and she has been blazing, folks. That 50, watch that 50 in this price. She was relating to it very dearly. She's on a nice trend right now, folks. All of our oscillators on the last few charts have shown strength, showing heat, climbing. Everything is looking good for continuation with this. I like this. I'm going to keep my eye on this company. All that space news, we have a lot of attention being put on space now, whether it be UFOs or satellites or Mars or building buildings out on the moon, Mars, whatever. There's a lot of companies right now. So space, when our planet starts having problems, stocks dealing with space may start growing. Just like when we have problems with our dollar, gold starts growing. You may want to just consider those facts. So that does it for Osti. And my voice is almost gone. I am hanging on. No, I don't want to turn that off. Okay. What's everyone doing over here? Remember to hit the like button and tip your waiter. Service is always wonderful here. Oh, I love you, Mark. Give me a hug, buddy. Give me a hug. Mark just gave me a super sticker. Oh, yeah. I got no pride. I'll beg for money. You can give me money for whatever reason. You got a good reason to give me money. I gave you a good tip. I entertain you. I put forth good effort. I'm diligent. I've been here for years and years and years. I'll take it. I used to be a waiter. I like taking money for people when I do something for you. It ain't begging if I'm working for it, right? In any case, even your likes are appreciated, folks. Following me is appreciated. And saying that, I'm over 5,000 followers on Twitter. I'm over 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. These are hard-earned, folks. I know those aren't big numbers, but I am proud of them. Now, if I can just get all of you to start watching my videos. I'm tired of 200 and 300 and 100 views when I got 5,000 followers on Google. Come on, YouTubers. Do me justice. You know, I do get paid a little bit of money. It ain't much. It's less than $100 a month right now. Okie dokie. I know you guys gave me some more tickers here, and I really wish I had the energy to go looking at these, but I'm glad to see that you guys are talking amongst yourselves, sharing information. You know what? Last thing I'm going to do here, because I said I'd do it, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to jump back here. Fillmore. Oh, you thought I forgot you, didn't you? KWESW, right? Right? Okay, we've got all right, this is the warrant. This is really what Belmore was wanting to look at. Now, you've got to look at the company for the information. The warrant hasn't got any information on its own, except to say, how many warrants are there? Well, you know, they never tell you that. You've got to go looking that information up. How many warrants are there? But it really doesn't seem to make a difference. What makes a difference is the news for the company. When the company starts running, the chart starts moving for the regular common stock. That's when you start looking for the warrant to run. Now, warrants are penny stocks. I don't know what the price of the stocks are going to be, but the warrants are always a lot cheaper. And when the stock runs, say, 10%, you could get 50% out of your warrant. If the stock runs 100%, you could get 600% out of the warrants. Now, warrants right now aren't as hot as they used to be. They used to be very hot with SPACs, because SPACs, you don't bid on the stock because it's locked into a price of $10 until they close the deal. So everybody bid on the warrant when news came out. Now it's a different story. But I've got a lot of warrants in companies like AREB, BNZI, or is it BNZAI, or whatever it is. I've got warrants in companies between $2 and $4, because when these companies break out and go up to $10, man, the warrants go from 2 cents to 30 cents. So when you are buying 1,000 shares at 2 cents a piece and paying $20, you're going to be able to sell those things for a big buku amount of money. And I've seen warrants go over $1. If the stock starts to run, the warrant will really run hard. So you can make some money on these. So taking a look at the warrant over the last 6 months. So she's basically going sideways. If we draw a support and resistance in there, you can see she's right at where she was 6 months ago. We did have a pop here. She jumped from about 2.8 cents. Wow. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. 2.8 cents. Let's call it 3 cents to make it easy. Up to 12 cents. That was a 400% run. Warrants move fast up and down, folks. They can dribble, but when they move, they rocket. and they rocket in both directions. She's come right back down. We had another bump and jump here from 3 cents up to 8 cents. So you're looking at 150, 175% run there. So we do get some nice jumps and bumps out of this. Now, do we read the charts on these? Well, you can read the chart. If you have a breakout setup, maybe you've got yourself a 200 squeeze or something. Yeah, but to be honest, I really don't read charts for warrants. It's all about the common stock most of the time. If the common stock is running, whatever the chart is on the warrant, it's going to start moving. If it's going to move. Warrants don't get a lot of love most of the time, but when they get love, whoa, they get it in big spurts. So right now we do have an uptrend. She is trying to get up on top of all of the MAs. Our 9-day is crossing the 50 right now. Here's our 200 MA, our 200 Hall, and it is trying to get on top of all of them. All of our oscillators are climbing right now on the 4-hour. If we come down to our 1 hour, it's that steady climb. Things are getting bigger, right? We've got a big green bar, then 3 small bars going down. Green bar is 1. So we've got the kangaroo bounce. This is exactly what you want. And I'm presuming if we look at the 1 minute, it's looking nice, folks. Not a lot of activity, but steady activity. She's gotten what? This is the 1 minute chart. That's a whole day. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 trades through the day. 7 minutes of trading through the day. So it's not a lot of activity, but she doubled in value, going from 2 cents to 4 cents, 100%. She came back down here to 2.8, and she is back up to 4 cents right now. So the warrant doesn't look bad. You know, at 4 cents, it would have been better at 2 cents. Most of my warrants I bought at 2 cents. A couple of them I bought at 4 cents. So this is my zone right here where I would buy a warrant, and I may consider this. I'll go do a deeper dive on the company and see what I think. So there you go, folks. Now I've kept my word. I've covered everything we were supposed to cover. You're welcome, Kevin. I appreciate your thanks. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. I know live can be a little iffy. I always feel if there's dead air, it's bad. So I have a habit of talking fast, and I apologize for that. I don't do that in real life. Something about that bloody camera makes me talk fast. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here, helping me with my show, sharing information with one another. Remember to watch my videos. I've got Funko out there, FNKO, JYD. These are 2 companies I expect to blast off. They are in 200 squeezes right now on the 4-hour charts. 4-hour charts need some time. Could be 2 or 3 days, but they look like they're ready to go. So don't forget to watch my videos. I'm trying to help you make some money. Thanks, folks. I'll see you next week, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. Right? Right. See you then, folks. He's leaving. No, don't go.